right, guys, welcome back to the show. So this is my third podcast of the week. I promised you Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and here it is. So I was reading this novel called Leave Me by Gayle Forman. And it's very interesting because I was just at the bookstore and I actually don't read a lot of physical books. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And I don't know why, even the book cover, it's interesting, but it just says Leave Me. And so I was like, interesting. I don't know why I was attracted to this book. So I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of doing a book review and I'm just going to talk to you about the message behind this book. And it's really, really interesting. So the front cover copy. For every woman who has ever fantasized about driving past her exit on the highway instead of going home to make dinner, for anyone who has ever dreamed of boarding a train to a place where no one needs constant attention, here's Mary Beth. A hard-working woman who's so busy taking care of her husband and her twins, she doesn't even recognize or realize that she's having a heart attack. Surprised to discover that her recuperation seems to be an imposition on those that rely on her, Mary Beth does the unthinkable. She packs a bag and leaves. But as often in this case, once she gets to where she's going, we see our lives from a different perspective, far from the demands of family and career, and with the help of liberating new friendships, Mary Beth is finally able to own up to the secret she has been keeping to herself and those she loves. Gayle Forman is a dazzling observer of human nature. She trademarks sensitivity and humor around. She comforts the ambivalence and complexities of modern motherhood head on and shows us that sometimes you need to leave home in order to find it again. Interesting. I love this novel. I thought it was great. I thought it was powerful. It is not a self-help, so it was fabulous because I felt like I didn't have to learn anything in the book, which is why, sometimes we just need to read stories. And as I'm reading this book, it's going through the process of this woman, Mary Beth, in the middle of a heart attack and just powering through, not even realize she's having the heart attack, and then going to the doctors and the cardiologist and realizing, the guy's looking at her going, like, are you going to stop? Are you going to stop? And she takes some money out of her bank account, her savings, gets on a train, changes her name, and just goes and lives a different life, buying underwear from the dollar store, meeting people who don't have children, and just living a completely different lifestyle. Not even telling people, that she has children and she's married and all of this. She does end up coming home at the end of the book, and but she's a different person. And I see so many of you in this book and so many clients who even work with me and go through my programs where, we, as women, I think this is a cultural epidemic of who we think we need to be. And yesterday was International Women's Day. I'm watching all of the memes and the posts of like, I am strong, I am powerful, my body can, is such a feminine and I've given life and I do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, we are fucking powerful. But why do we need to prove this to the world? What is it? I get it. And guess what? You know what was interesting about this book? And this happened to me too, and I'll probably talk a little bit about that in a sec. But, Gayle's the author. So Mary Beth in the story is talking about like, go, I need to do this, I need to do this. And she's like, nobody else can do it better than me. And her husband, her poor husband, is sitting there like a bump on a log, watching this powerful woman just, control everything. And he doesn't follow through. He doesn't follow through with a lot. And I hear this from so many of you of like, why is my husband a man child? Why can't he, do this or do that? And the truth is, they're passively observing you and they don't actually have to do anything because they've never been forced to do it. So I think for a lot of women, we have expectations, societal expectations that have been put on us when we were little girls. You get a doll, you take care of the doll. And then it's like, okay, you're the woman, you do this, you do that. And I see it. I see it all the time. It's not just ingrained in families, it's ingrained in schools, it's ingrained in society of the woman does this, the man does this. I even watch it with my boys. It's interesting to see. We've had exchange students living in our house. We don't have any right now, but we've had female and male exchange students. And the female exchange students come in, especially the European ones come in, and they're like, they try to take over the household. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And it's very interesting to watch. But they're very motherly. And then the male exchange students that come in, we've had a few, we had a Korean male exchange students came in, and it was like the expectation of me to be his slave, right? Me to cook and clean, me to do this, me to do that. And it just shows you the cultural differences and experiences. And I'm totally stereotyping here, but this has just been my own personal experience. So getting back to the book, it's like, this woman is like, well, I can't. If I let this go, everything's going to fall apart. My children are going to die and my husband won't be able to do this. And so she runs away, and guess what? Her husband keeps the kids alive. He actually, made some big choices by himself because he couldn't ask her for help, right? So he let go of a nanny. He hired a new one. He started cooking. He started cleaning. He figured shit out. And I remember feeling this way and not understanding how to change it, because this is this natural born force that comes through you. But I had the belief that nobody could take care of my children better than me. And if I wasn't taking care of them, then I was a failure, and that they were going to die. Probably like inside of me somewhere, that was the deepest fear of nobody's going to do it as good as me. And then what if they get sick? What if? And, if they eat mac and cheese, oh my gosh. And when I got sick, it was a huge punch in the face because I could not take care of my children. And so my husband had to take on more of a role. My in-laws helped. And, was I satisfied with the groceries that were being put in my fridge? No. But I was grateful that I had somebody to take care of my children. And either that, community shows up. And I hear so often, where's my village? Where's my village? We're an individualized culture. But we're fucking creating that. Like, you have to consciously create your village, and you have to consciously give yourself a break and say, not this. What do I want? And still to this day, guys, when I do things for myself, the guilt pops up and, the stories pop up, and I go, oh my gosh, Heather, this is so old. Like, let this go. So it's not about getting rid of our voices. It's not about getting rid of that guilt. It's about saying, is taking action from a place of guilt getting me closer or further away from the life I want to be living and how I want to feel in relationship to my children, my family, myself, my partner, my money, my time, my energy, my career, my purpose? And leading from a place of guilt or fear is never going to get you closer. So that's my little quick tip. So I can take something and go in the direction that I want and say, I need this. My soul is craving this. And yes, I'm not going to be with my kids, for the next 6 hours. Oh my goodness. Or 24 hours. But my children still know who I am. And creating independence is really, really healthy in our kids. And it's okay. It's really okay. It's okay to put your oxygen mask on first. And on the last page, Mary Beth calls home and she says, her husband's name is Jason. Jason, listen, I'm coming home. And then it says, Elizabeth's already on her way to pick me up. I'll be back tonight. And one of the kids says, Daddy, why are you stopping? And then the child's name is Oscar's little voice traveled through the line bright and clear. Who are you talking to? And then it was her daughter who she heard. Mommy? Liv asked, as if it was the most normal thing in the world for Mary Beth to be called. Is that Mommy? So this reminds me that you will always be your child's mother. They will never forget you. They will never forget your nurturing and your love. And realizing that you are enough and you do not need to be around your children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in order for them to know who you are and to develop a healthy relationship with them. This was something well, I talked about how I struggled with it when I got sick, but I remember the first time I looked at my son and I was like, I need to be with you 24 hours a day, not realizing that that's not a healthy way of thinking. So let's not be Mary Beth. I don't want you to have a heart attack and not even know it and realize that you feel you need to do everything in order to, in order to be, and I don't even want to call it successful because I think that's such bullshit. You have choices. You have so many choices. And the truth is, what I really enjoy about this book is what they were talking about with the evolution of getting outside of your environment to see new perspective. To see new perspective. You have to leave your house, go on vacation by yourself, just get a break, create space and go, oh my gosh, what was that hurricane that I was just in? Okay, how can I create a calm and peaceful environment in my home? So that's my little aha for you today, my little book review. It's called Leave Me, a novel by Gayle Forman. There's a whole bunch of lines on the front. It's a really good read. And I think, if you want a novel that you don't have to learn from, well, I'm sure you'll learn from it, but it's not a self-help book. You don't feel like you need to take notes. I think it's a really, really good bedtime read. Thanks, guys, and talk soon.